All right, all right. What's going on, party people? This is your man Griff, and we are doing it now. All right, I'm just trying to make sure I got all my stuff over here straight. All right, let me turn that down. All right, sorry about all of the little technical. All right, there we go. There we go. I thought I had everything straight. My apologies, everybody. But what's going on, party people? This is your man Griff. Sitting here, we getting ready to do a great and wonderful interview with Gary Pierre Lewis, and I'm gonna tell you, it's going to be fantastic. He's going to be talking about a subject that I've been not, I won't say necessarily researching, but looking into and getting prepared to do because my son is now in the business with me, and I'm like, okay, well, it's my business has grown by 100%, went from me to him, both of us. So I said, you know what, I need to be a little more cognizant of probably starting my own signing company, but I got to get my mindset right for that because that's a whole nother different animal. And that's why I'm glad Gary is on today. He's going to be talking about all of that and everything. So we're just going to take our time, have a great conversation, and just allow him to share with you and to educate you on what it takes to have a signing service and how to be successful with it. So let me bring him on in. How you doing today there, Gary?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Griff?
Man, doing good, doing good, doing good. So we got the party people up in here. We got the Notary Institution. We got Cash Cats. So I'll be keeping an eye on the chat if there's any questions and everything. And y'all, since we're using StreamYard, at a certain point after me and him finish talk, if anybody wants to hop on on StreamYard live here with us to ask him a question, I'm gonna put a link out there and you'll be able to do so. So y'all just hang on, and once we finish doing our talk and giving him the floor to say what he needs to share with us, then we're gonna give you an opportunity to hop on in here and talk with him. So tell us about yourself, my man.
All right. First, thanks for having me, Griff. I definitely thank you for sharing your platform with me. It's an honor and a privilege. You're doing a lot of great things out there, and it's always a pleasure for you to be able to share your space with me. Thank you for that. My name is Gary Pierre Lewis. The name of my business is GPL Mobile Notary Services. I do general notary work. I also do loan signings. I'm an owner of a signing service company. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. I do blogs. And I actually have the privilege of now being able to put my first book out called Signing Service Secrets Revealed. This is a guide to help you open up your own signing service company. But it's not just for notaries. It's for anybody that's looking to open up any signature company. So if you're doing fingerprinting or any business that requires you needing subcontractors, where you need a structure and a model to help you go out there and spread your business around, this book helps you. So it's for your full timers, your part timers, your dreamers, anybody that has an idea, a business model, and really looking for a structure in which to develop and grow that. So I'm out here in New Jersey, Bergenfield, New Jersey, and I've been doing notaries for over a decade. I've been in financial services for over 2 decades, and I've really been I've been in financial services, banking, management, and I really utilize a lot of those skills to really just turn the company that I have now, which is my signing service company, into fruition. And I'm just really excited about that. Thanks for having me.
All right, that is excellent, excellent. I was sitting here answering back some of the people in the chat. So you're located in New Jersey, correct?
New Jersey, but I'm originally from Queens.
Okay.
Queens, New York.
Got you. So now tell me, what inspired you to make the transition from creating a team of notaries to a signing company?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I was always doing notary work, being a banker for a company. I've worked for Chase and a couple of different other banks as well. And as a banker, I don't know if you're familiar, they usually have to have a banker on staff
Right.
that is a notary. And so that somebody comes in and they want to do notary work, you're able to go in there and take care of that. So I mean, in that world, it was like you almost didn't want to broadcast that you were a notary, because all that meant for the banker is you're just doing extra work. You weren't getting paid for this.
Right.
So it's something you really kept in your pocket. But I had but I had it because of the being a banker. But now when I did my refinance of my house, and then I had a loan signing agent come to my house and do that loan, do the refinance for my home, and they were in and out in 45 minutes. And I saw that fee on that sheet, and I said, wow. She showed me her business card. She was her own business. She got the contract, which she was able to do my refinance. It just definitely sparked that bulb, and I'm like, wow,
Right.
I could use what I already have that I'm required to have from the bank and really create a business out of this. Right.
Correct.
At that time, I didn't know it would turn into a full throttle signing service company.
Okay, cool. So tell us about one of the obstacles you faced since becoming the owner of a signing service.
Well, it's not one. It's real life. So you're dealing with a lot, right? You get a lot of things. I think we're kind of talking about this earlier before on the pre-call.
Yeah.
It's everybody wants to have their own signing service company, but it's a lot of work. It's almost like I liken it to when I first before I started going into becoming my own signing service company. I wanted to learn the business, and I wanted to learn the business by becoming great at doing general notary work. Right? That done hundreds of those, made a lot of mistakes, but through those mistakes, I learned how to get better. So when I felt as if I was an expert at that, I'm like, great. Now let me get the certification, become a loan signing agent, right? So once I became certified through the National Notary Association, being certified to do that, I said, okay, great. I did my research, I did what I needed to do, I created my business plan, and I worked that business plan. I created the relationships that gave me work, right? Once I got the work, then I decided I wanted to do any kind of loan signing there was, whether it be a home equity line of credit, whether it be a refinance, whether it be a purchase. And the reason I wanted to do that was I wanted to become an expert at it, right? Because I knew that in order to run, and I always had in the back of my mind, I wanted to eventually have a team of people that I'd be able to sign loan signings to. I'd have to be an expert at this myself. So that's what I did. I just once I felt comfortable in knowing what it was to be a notary and what it was to be a loan signing agent, I then decided to create the structure that allowed me to give loan signing agents business. But with that, it's just kind of like just being an employee of a company. When you're an employee of a company, you may have X amount of responsibilities, right? You have to do this, and that.
Right.
But it's one thing doing it for yourself, and it's one thing running for a team of notaries, whether that's 5, 10, 20, 600. You're not just responsible for yourself anymore. You're responsible for every one of those subcontractors that you're subcontracting business to. So you're managing all these pieces. These people
Right.
could be 18, 19, 20 years old. These people
Correct.
could come from all walks of the town, right? So it's really managing that piece. It's a people's game. It's a people's business. And the more you love people, the more you have a natural gift of really learning how to work those relationships. You'll be great. But you're not just going to go into this thing thinking I'm just going to be CEO of a signing service company. Let's delegate these jobs and that's it. You get a lot thrown at you.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why one of the reasons why, even before you had contacted me and we set this up, I did that video on fiduciary duty, because that is a huge responsibility there, because you have a responsibility to do things correctly. You have to do things with proper care, with loyalty. And a lot of notaries don't realize, and honestly, I didn't really realize that until I actually really heard the definition. So I knew what fiduciary duty was from a financial management standpoint. For us, that person who's managing my money, they have a duty to make sure things are right with me. But I didn't understand how it plays in a lot of areas in business. So when you're conducting business, depending on what role you're in, you have a duty to do things right. You have a duty to be loyal. And then I said, well, who do I have a fiduciary duty to? And in my opinion, first of all, it's the state, because they're the ones who commissioned us. So I got to make sure I'm doing things right according to the state, which And everything that you said, also my next question about how did you overcome those obstacles, main reason way you overcame those obstacles was learning the business, learning things correctly. Because if you learn things correctly, then you will be able to make sure your notaries are doing things correctly. Because if I'm not mistaken, as the owner of a signing service, you have notaries who are coming from various different backgrounds, various different training methods and methodologies that may not necessarily coincide with what you're doing. And that's just talking about your state, New Jersey. Then you bringing people in out of state, and then they want to do things a certain way that may not be jiving. So you're sending a New Jersey property to Georgia. New Jersey got certain rules that has to be done. Or you may have a New Jersey notary that's doing a property in Georgia, which requires an attorney. So you got to make sure that they understand those things. And it's more than just saying, I got a bunch of notaries doing work for me, which reduces me going out doing signings. It's actually being responsible for people's livelihood, because everything you're saying takes me back to when I was in college. One of the books that I read was on management, and one chapter in there talked about as a manager, you have to be able to understand what motivates each individual.
Yes.
Because everybody is motivated differently. Some are just motivated by the fact that they have a job. Some are motivated by the fact that they're getting a paycheck. Some are motivated by the prospects of getting rewards, raises, or employee of the month, employee of the year. There's various different reasons what is motivating people. And as a manager, you have to understand each employee, or in some cases, in this case, each contractor that is working with you. Okay, what is your motivation? Okay, are you trying to hit a particular dollar amount, or are you, just in it just to say, have got some side money? Are you just sort of exploring this? Because that lets me know the level of commitment you have. Because I gather your commitment is up here, but if somebody's just testing the water out, their commitment might be down here. So you might be a little iffy about sending them to what, as I've learned, I've actually worked with one company. They list me as one of their private wealth notaries. They have these private wealth company people, and I get these orders, and they pay very well. And I'm like, okay. And it says in the order, it has PWN, need a PWN, private wealth notary.
Nice.
So somebody who's sort of playing around with this may not get classified as a private wealth notary or a high-end notary for certain clientele. That's what I'm gathering, what you're talking about here.
No, absolutely. And probably the reason why they made you a private wealth notary is because you were excellent at executing on these documents, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna want to place these sort of assignments in the hands of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, right?
Correct.
These are probably prestige relationships for this company. Even in my own company, I do the same thing. I have a team of notaries. There are some are newer than others, but if this is one of my top relationships, one of my top title companies that I'm getting direct the business from, if I have a choice whether to choose a newer notary or a more senior notary, I'm going to choose a more senior notary, especially when it's a newer relationship for me. Because if it's a newer relationship for me, I want to shock and awe, this new title company. I want to wow them, right? I want to provide them a top-notch service. So I want to find somebody that's going to be a reflection of the way I would execute on that. And usually that'll be one of my top notaries, because I know they're going to be professional. I know they're going to be on time. I know they're going to follow up, letting them know the assignment has been done. And then that's a great reflection on them as well as me. It's a team effort there. So I want to make sure that those notaries, I give those assignments to those notaries I know that are going to execute the way that I would execute on those assignments. So
there you go. Yeah, well, you just answered. Young lady named Sharon Kane just asked the question. Says, now that you have a signing company, what do you look for in giving loan signing agents business? And you just shared that they got to be on point.
Right.
They got to be on point. So you want to be, as I believe it was John Maxwell that says, I believe it was him. He said, you don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. So if you are the type of notary that's sort of iffy up and down, moody, flip-flopping back and forth. Every time somebody says this is what you need to do, oh, okay, I'm gonna run this way. Because now you have great signing services out there, but you also have some shady ones. So if you're a new notary going into owning your own signing company and you listen to the wrong people, they'll give you bad advice on how to treat your clientele, as well as the notaries who are working with you. And then you'll be doing that, and then another person said, well, no, I'll do it this way, and you'll be flip-flopping back and forth. So if that's the kind of person you are, that you just go with every wind of doctrine, as the word says, when you get into being a business owner, those are the kind of people who you'll attract. Because here's a secret that people don't realize, and it really shouldn't be a secret. At this stage of your life, people can tell what kind of person you are and whether they want to rock with you. So so no matter how much of a facade you put on, no matter how pretty your hair is, how fancy your smile is, people can hear your heart. And if they hear in your heart that all you're looking for is somebody who can help make them money so they don't have to go out and do closings, they're gonna be like, okay, you're a user. So you can't come across as a user, but it's hard to not come across that way if that's in you.
Yes.
If it's in you as to be a user, if it's in you to take advantage of people, and then you start in a company that you're managing people, they're going to pick up, and they might rock with you for a little while because they have no other option. But as soon as that they come across GPL, they're gonna be like, we going with GPL because we see that he's sincere. We see that you're not. You see what I'm saying? And go for it.
No, that's deep. That's very deep, and a lot of the time, when you're having notary conversations, people don't talk about that aspect of the business. They like to talk about, the X's and O's, but the X's and O's could be taught,
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, honestly, like even on my team, I'm not the best notary on my team. I don't have any fancy degrees, right? I don't even want to let people off the hook with thinking that I do or that there's any secret to this. But the fact is, I know what my why is. I know why I do what I do, right? I know why I do what I do. Do I have all the answers? No, but I know where to go get the answers, right?
Correct.
And then also, when you know your why, that how happens. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've gotten help from other people in the business. Notaries on my team. You can't be afraid to get information, But like you said, if they know your heart, you could lead men and women, right? But if you're a selfish individual, you're gonna have a very tough time being in this space or being an owner of a signature company, because what you're doing, your primary role is to lead people, right?
That's right.
Lead people. That's it. It's a people's game. And I like to say I'm very good with working with people. I care about people. That comes across. So I'm successful doing that. But the X's and O's, you'll learn X's and O's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And that's right. And that's Eric Thomas. Know your why.
Yes.
Know your why. You got to know your why you're doing this. And that's the part that motivates me and pushes me, because I know my why. I know my why. So I'm like, okay, I can go out here and do it. So because I understand my why, I went out today and did a $30 loan mod, and then turned around and had $100 regular refinance. But the loan mod, total time travel and doing it only took an hour. But that was the loan mod. But the actual refinance took me over 2 hours. When you add travel, getting there 26 minutes to get there, 26 minutes back, and an hour and a half sitting there because the gentleman wanted to read every single document. So you're talking, so
those are fun.
So you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
people were saying, so when people want to play with the numbers, it's like, okay, well, you could literally probably say from a profit standpoint, a percent profit standpoint, I was more profitable on the $30 one than I was on the $100 one, because I was there for over 2 total time, because that's what everybody wants to do, all of these fancy calculations. Total time was over 2 hours. Okay, that, I'm like, man, I could have been doing some other stuff. You see what I'm saying? But I couldn't rush the guy because he was a reader. He was an airplane pilot. and airplane pilots and nuclear engineers and people like that, they read. That's what they do. Contract specialists, they read. So I was like, all right, cool. But I was happy either way because I understood my why, and it helped me accomplish the goal that I had for today.
Right.
So that's what counts and everything. So give us a basic overview of what a signing service is, and an overview of the, because you talked about a little bit about your responsibilities, but any other responsibilities outside of what you shared.
All right. So a signing service company, simply put, you're a connector between getting the business direct and getting that business over to the subcontractors that are going to close that business. So you could almost think about it almost as a broker, right? So you get the relationships and you're finding the people that could execute on those documents that you've gotten from the business that you got in direct. So that's literally what you're doing. So as a CEO of a signing service company, my main job is to make sure I have in the states that I'm doing business with premier notaries that are able to close these assignments. So you want to have a good amount of premier notaries in every state, right? Because and the reason I say premier notaries is because you want to have people that you could depend on, right? It doesn't mean that these are going to be the only people that are going to represent that state or that particular assignment. But you want to you want to have preferred notaries, people that you could rely on, trust on to fill these jobs. So my job really is looking for more ways, being in front of the business, right? Where I can look for more relationships, more title companies, more professional networks in which I can network with to find business. I need to keep these notaries busy. So anything that I could do to find more relationships, market for more business, that's what I do primarily as a CEO of a signing service company. But again, as we spoke to and alluded to earlier, I'm managing these relationships, and I use the word managing loosely. I'm not managing the people per se, but I'm managing my process, right? And I'm talking with these individuals, and to your point, I want to find out who they are, what they like, what they're motivated by, right? The better I know that, the better I could talk to what they're looking to do, right? You got to
Correct.
talk their language. I need to everybody on my team. I need to know what language they talk, right? Because the better I know the language they communicate in best, the better I'm able to basically get them closer to what their objectives are and get me closer to my objectives, right?
That is excellent. So here's another question. So why should notaries begin to build a team of notaries or start a signing service? A couple of reasons.
I'll give you one. I had a guy just yesterday tell me, "Well, Gary, look, I like what you're doing. I'm thinking about doing it myself. I have this 9 to 5 job right now where I've been able to get a lot of jobs from some title companies, but I'm not able to do it on a consistent basis. So I lose that relationship, right?
Right.
So he loses a relationship that he spent a lot of time building. So my suggestion to him was, he's looking to get started doing the business. What time better than now, right? Because all he really needs to maybe start with is maybe 1, 2 notaries. It doesn't have to be that intimidating. Once you
Right.
learn the system and the structure in which to operate in, you find that 1 or 2 or 3 notaries, subcontractors that you want to do business with, right? Then you just set off. Then you just go from there, right? The most intimidating thing is just to really just get started, right?
Gotcha.
you know. And I liken it to like a cold pool. Nobody wants to jump in a cold pool, but once your body gets used to that cold, you're okay.
Yeah.
It's not as scary. So that's really just what you're really looking to do there. Just get started, and in the book I talk about how to build that structure, how to build the systems, what applications to use. What applications I've used. I've talked about all of that to really help guide somebody that's really looking to duplicate this process.
Okay. Cool. So another question. So 2 quick questions here. What is the profit in starting a signing service, and what is there any huge startup costs?
No, there's not. There are startup costs, but it's like just when you get started being a loan signing agent, you have your E&O insurance as a signing
Hmm.
service company. It's a little bit more. You need to have $1 million policy, right? $1 million sounds very scary, but E&O is not very expensive. So, you could just figure out what that price would be
Gotcha.
for that, right? You getting certified as a loan signing agent. The same certification that allows you to be a loan signing agent is the same one that you're going to have as as an owner of a signing service company. So,
Gotcha.
there is this is not a brick and mortar. I am my own wheels, right?
Okay.
So you're not having to pay rent to not having to pay rent or anything like that. So it's not very costly to get started, right?
Okay.
I mean, maybe here's the thing, depending on how many states you want to be in, right? You may want to figure out and do a little bit of research to find out what you can and cannot do, right?
Okay.
What you can and cannot do. So one may want to invest in an attorney, right? So to figure out what they can and cannot do in their state, call up call up the NNA, call up your local government bodies to figure out what you can and cannot do. But you could figure that part out as far as the rules of your state, and once you figure that out, you can see what you can and cannot do. But the overhead is not very expensive at all.
So what you sound like what you're saying is it's not a one size fits all. But in other words, what you do in one state, you just can't go and replicate in another.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no.
And
You want
see,
to.
and if y'all been following my channel, that has been my biggest pet peeve is that too many people are communicating from the notarial standpoint, just as a notary signing agent, as if what I'm telling you that I do is applicable in every situation in every state. And notaries are finding out the hard way that it's not. And that's the part that's disheartening for me. So then you go into trying to run a signing service. And if you go in there with the same attitude and mindset that, okay, what I'm doing in Colorado is going to work in Arizona, is going to work over here, here, here. No, it doesn't operate that way. You have to understand, and the notary, you need to make sure your notaries understand their state law as well as you at least be somewhat familiar or have a resource that you can ping on, like you were saying earlier. If I don't know the answer, I know where I can get the answer. And if you're not a person who researched to try to get answers for yourself when you were just a notary and you was always seeking out Facebook for answers, and having to pay people $75 from Instagram for answers, how you going to plan on running a business? You're going to do everything you can not to even ask questions, because that's not a part of you. Going back to what we were saying earlier, it's not a part of you to do the requisite research. So you just won't do it. And then next thing you know, you got your notary doing something. Or here's the worst part, as a signing company, you don't want to lose that title company's business. So the title company said, oh, well, no, just tell them to backdate it. And you, okay, notary backdate it. And then they're like, well, no, I can't backdate that. No, that's wrong. Well, either you backdate or I'm going to blacklist you.
Yeah.
So now here you have a situation where this young notary signing company is so scared to follow the law, or really they don't understand the law. They get intimidated by the title company or the lender to do something that is not ethical. And then they end up blacklisting a notary for standing their ground and trying to do things right. And go
and
for it.
that's so true, Griff. Like, here I was when I first got started in New Jersey as a signing service company, and I landed a nice relationship, a very nice relationship, and we were moving and grooving. She started giving me a lot of business, and I was delegating them out to different notaries. Then one time a notary gave me a call, and they said, "Hey, Gary, she's asking me to backdate some documents." And I said, "Ooh," and I said, "No, we can't do that," right? But it was scary to say you can't do that, because I ran the risk of not getting business from this signing service company.
Right.
But if you want to operate an ethical business, or you want to operate with integrity, this is just what you have to do. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this won't be the first or the last time that she's going to be asking me to do this, right?
Correct.
So you can't be so scared to say no. You can't be so scared to operate in integrity, right? Because just the same way I got that company to do business with me, I can find another company that wants to operate the right way and do business with me, right?
Right.
And that won't ask me to do that. So,
Yeah.
like you said, what my job is as an owner, I'm always trying to find more and more relationships, because
Gotcha.
you would like to see that all these signing companies do the right thing, but they don't. You would like to see that a lot of notaries do the right thing, but they don't. And you always constantly have to be like, recruiting for new notaries that want to do the right thing and new relationships that want to operate with integrity.
Yeah. And that's the thing, see, what this is even confirming to me a lot of the thoughts that I've had since becoming a notary signing agent. I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, everybody said, man, Griff, you should start a signing company. And I'm like, man, you got to do things right. You really have to do things right. It's because now you got other people. Not only do you have these notaries' lives in your hand, but then you have the people who are signing the paper, the borrowers. Then you have the real estate agent who's depending on you. You have the title escrow company that's depending on you. You have the lender that's depending on you. And even more so, you have the lender's shareholders. Because let's get real. The lender, he's working for his shareholders, and the shareholders are like, okay, why did our company? Well,
Yes.
Griffin Notary Services, they had a team of notaries that just messed the documents up and was doing things unethical. They were sitting here supposed to meet the signers on Friday, but because they wanted to go out on a date with their spouse, they met them on a Saturday and backdated it to Friday.
Right.
And I've heard notaries say that.
Yeah.
You got, well, a bunch of notaries got caught sitting in FedEx signing and notarizing the documents when they were supposed to have did it with the client. That kind of stuff is going on. So now here you have a signing agent, that's doing that, and then it affects you, and then it just trickles up. So like one question somebody asked, what's one or two telltale signs that an effective signing agent should begin transitioning to their own signing service? Well, if you understand your law, if you are a person of integrity, business ethics, and are willing to stand for what's right, when you're faced with somebody saying, well, I've been doing this 40 years, you can backdate it. I've been doing this for 40 years. You can do this. You can do that. Just do it this way. And you got to be able to say, well, no, according to my state law, it says I'm not able to. And you have to be a person that's willing to stand up for your business as well as stand up for your notary. So
Yes.
because like I have there are some signing companies, like sometimes, and I don't really like it, and it puts you in a bad situation where the title company goes around the signing company and calls the notary and start asking the notary questions, and the notary is like, okay, what am I doing? So the title company is telling the notary what to do. And one time that happened to me, I got a call and they was asking me, and I'm thinking that everybody signing company and the title was all in sync. And I asked them, I said, what I see in here says something about doing scan backs. Do I need to do scan backs? Because it says scan backs on Thursday, Friday, and weekend, but today is Wednesday. Oh no, you don't need to do scan backs. Okay, cool. I didn't do scan backs. The signing company called, where's the scan backs? Well, so-and-so from the title company called me and said I didn't have to do them. Well, I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, mom and pop is arguing here and I'm stuck in the middle. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, and that was from, and then the signing company came to my defense and was like, okay, I'm like, okay, what did I do? They're like, okay, got it. Because their rule was, if you don't do scan backs, you get half your fee. And I explained to them who called me, what they said, this, that, and the other. They checked it. They said, don't worry, you're going to get your full fee because it wasn't something that you did on your own. That's if you're that kind of person, in my opinion, that can stand up for your notary when the signing company or even the lender goes around and starts saying things. And in some cases, I've had real estate agents do stuff shady. Because sometimes, unfortunately, you have the signing companies that a notary can't get in contact with. So sometimes if a real estate agent is there, I'll ask them to call their contact because it seems like they can get get in contact with somebody quicker. But the problem I keep running into is the real estate agent will communicate what I'm asking in a very negative way, as if I don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, all I was asking was this. Well, the notary says that he doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, I didn't say I didn't know what to do. I said, I'm
Right.
trying to get clarification
Right.
on something because it's different this go around and I can't get anybody. So I'm asking you to contact them or contact the lender who I heard you on the phone with them to get clarification. So when I come into that, and a lot of times that goes back to the signing company, and then the signing company like, no, Griffin knew, and they'll call me and they say, what happened here? What happened was this. Okay, we got it. I said the real estate agent communicated as if I was dumb and stupid, and that wasn't the case. And once I explain it, then they go back to the lender and they're like, hey, here's what happened. And the lender's like, oh, okay. Because unfortunately, even though you would think everybody outside of who's a notary will be on the same page and on the same team and like, hey, we don't make each other look bad. I've learned that certain people will make the notary look bad. And you have to be careful about who you have speak for you. But every single time, the signing company has always come to my defense, has stood up there and said, nope, Griff. But it all starts from me doing things right in the first place.
Exactly.
Having a track record. And then if I made a mistake and they say, well, no, we know Griff will get it fixed and everything. So that's excellent. So not a huge startup cost. Got to be a person of integrity. So tell us some more about your book.
So the book is now available on Amazon. Go grab yourself a copy. But the book, I really just I started getting a lot of questions. Once I started my signing service company, and it was more boutique style in the beginning, where I was just operating out of New Jersey and New York exclusively. And so, I had some notaries who were asking me, how do I get started doing the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And it just brought me back to what I was thinking originally when I first started. I was just really wanting to find information on just how do I structure a signing service company. There's tons of information on how to become a notary public. There's tons of information on how to become a loan signing agent. But what's the structure on how to start a signing service company? So I really wanted to, for anybody interested that wanted to just learn how to get started and just learn how to do this from the ground up, I wanted to provide a step-by-step guide that walked them through that. So this book gave me the opportunity to do that in a way that talks to not just the notary community, but talks to anybody that wants a management structure, a framework, what have you, that will provide you the framework necessary to give work to subcontractors. So if you're in the fingerprinting business, you want a structure in which you could outsource to subcontractors. This book gives you the framework. So I just wanted somebody to have the same opportunity to basically have information at their fingertips to show them how to do it if they wanted to get started. So that's what inspired me to do that. Because when I got started, that wasn't there. And I had to really learn that. I had to really learn how to set up that structure by just trying different things.
That is excellent. And if you want to purchase the book, click the link in the description of the video. Takes you straight to the page. When we're all done, I'm gonna be buying the Kindle version. I like the Kindle versions and everything since I do a lot on my phone and everything. I guess next you're gonna be having to do the audio book.
Yeah, that's coming.
Okay, I love audiobooks. I love audiobooks when I'm riding around because I literally don't listen to anything on the radio anymore. I'm primarily just if I'm listening to anything, it's motivational speakers
Right.
or I'm talking to notaries and helping them. And I try to listen to about two or three, maybe four motivational speaker clippets a day, even if it's the same one. I listen to them because it keeps me focused and it helps me stay with my why.
Yes, I do the same thing. It's funny that you said that. I have my favorite. I like Eric Thomas. I like TD Jakes. Very inspirational. But I get frustrated, like when I'm really pulling off to start my day and the music's playing and I don't get the opportunity to change the channel to something that I want to listen to that makes sense for myself because I want to make that. Sometimes I'm on the road for 15 minutes before I get my cup of coffee. I want those 15 minutes to be impactful. want to listen to content that that I can actually learn and grow from. So
Right.
I'm the same way. I need to be listening to something that would encourage me, or something that I could really draw some inspiration from.
Yeah. And even just as a side note, one of the things that really just solidified a lot of who I am, and just confirmed my thought process, was when I heard Eric Thomas say average people complain. Average people complain and they blame everybody else for what they're not getting. And and everybody know where I'm going with this. When you hear people in Facebook or on in comment sections of videos complaining and blaming the fact that, oh, there's new notaries, so that's why I can't get the money that I want to get. And I'm like, there's always going to be new notaries. And part of the issue is that if you have a notary, a person who doesn't, let's just be real, some people can't cut it as a notary because they don't like the pace. They're not getting the $300 that they thought they was going to get. The title company that they was working direct with is working them and not really treating them with respect. So things that they thought was going to happen isn't happening. So what do? Well, I'm gonna either be a signing service or I'm gonna be an instructor. But here's the thing: in order to be a signing service or an instructor, you need people. You need bodies. You can't just be a signing service and have no notaries. You can't have a be an instructor or startup or even trying to be a mentor and not have physical bodies to give work to, instruct, or mentor. So guess what? If the colleagues that you have, if you join in January, well, you can't go and get them to be your students and get them, because they already got their training and all of that. So you got to get new people. So now if you got, let's just say 300 notaries in your area started in January, and even if 20% of them switched over to saying, I'm gonna just be an instructor or a mentor or a signing company, well, now they got to go get bodies. So they're going to market to get more people coming in, which is going to increase the number of people that's in the business. So that's why it's important, in my opinion, that when you get in here and you do it right, and you establish that proper relationship with the signing companies, with the title, and with the lenders, in finding out how they want things done, so that when these new cats come in who may not have that same energy, who may not understand their why, and they start messing up, they'll always go back to you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They'll always go back to you. It's with any relationship. You and a lady, y'all kicking it, and she's like, well, I really like a guy who's, a little rough around the edges. I like a guy, who's from the streets. But if you stay the course and you stay being a man that you're supposed to be, responsible and stuff, she come back.
Right.
She's like, you know what? Because once that person realizes what they really want, once they realize they don't want the slick talker and the fast talker, they want somebody solid that they can depend on, they always got to go back. But the problem is, some of these companies, they don't have anybody dependable to go to in the first place. So that's part of what I try to do, is encourage people, be dependable, be reliable, so that when the light clicks on in that signing services head, clicks on in that lender or whoever who's not enamored by the fancy sales tactics and marketing techniques from these notaries, and they realize, they said, well, okay, when you really look at it, when Gary's done these signings, his error rate is less than 1%. But the one who came with all the fanciness and the cookies and the donuts and the gift cards, they're at like 16% error rate, and it's costing us more money. So now what do you want? Okay, you know what? I love eye candy, but to be real, I need to save money and stop getting my E&O insurance hit. So let me stick with the person who's doing the solid thing. Let me get with Gary, and then find out, oh, Gary, you also train notaries, and you got, okay, well, Gary, you know what? You and your crew, I got you. And that's what I believe is happening and can happen with the notary work. So if you be a solid person, you just be solid. But if you're a bad W-2, you're going to be a bad independent contractor or business owner.
Right, right. I mean, this to be to start your own business takes courage. You know, it takes a
Mm-hmm.
lot of courage because you know you have to be willing to go against the grain. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You know, and you mentioned something with the complaining aspect I wanted to touch on. You know, there's a lot of complaining. You know, a lot of complaining. You know, and oftentimes when you're complaining, who do you let off the hook? Yourself, right?
Right.
You let yourself off the hook because if you're complaining, you're throwing power to something else that you don't have to do, right?
Right.
I'm not the same person when I originally started this notary company to now being a publisher of a book. I had to change multiple times, probably a dozen times. The version of me in the beginning of that to where I'm at now had to grow. You know, there's levels. You start as a notary public, then you grow to a loan signing agent. So as a loan signing agent, then you grow to starting your signing service company. Maybe you start with one or two, then you grow to two or three. You know, because if you're not ready to grow, you're gonna be stagnant right here. And if you
Mm-hmm.
decide to add more things and more assignments, and you yourself hasn't grown, what do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna get buried.
Yeah. You're
You're
gonna
gonna get
get
buried.
buried, and people, and the person who wants to grow, the person who is growing, will basically take what you have from you. They will
Right.
take they will take your business because they see that you're not doing it right. You don't have the energy to do it right, and then they'll be like, you know what? We just want to deal with you, and then they break off, and then you get mad. Why are you starting your own, man? You weren't doing it right, you know. So even with me with my son, I'm sitting here like, okay, I went from just being me chilling, now it's me and him. So I'm trying to help build him up independently with, so he can get orders, but also through, okay, people contact me and then I can give them to him. But I told him, I said, I want you to be able to have within the signing service realm, I want them to have, they can see your name and see that you've been doing work. Because a lot of times they'll say, well, just give it to him. I'm like, but he doesn't get credit for it.
Right.
I need him to get credit for it. So give it to him. So what I started doing was I did my own, what I preach all the time. I was getting him hooked up with loan applications. So certain companies would call, they were like, hey, I see a loan application. I would take it. I would already know what his schedule is. Okay, he's off that day. They call me, or I would contact them and say, hey, look, my son's in the business. He's in there. I'm Stephen Griffin. He's Stephen Griffin the fourth. You'll see me as the third. You'll see him as the fourth. Hey, look, this is just a loan application. He's starting out. Can we just shift that over to him? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, since there's no notarizations, so you got to think smart. How do you build up somebody? Okay, here's some loan applications. Get him used to just going out and doing it in front of people. And then I would roll with him. And now he's done at least two by himself, maybe I think three. So we still do the actual prepping of the documents. I have him put the sticker, the little notarized sticker, so he remembers, because sometimes you new and things. And I said, okay, and then before he goes, I check it. And then when he comes back, I check it again just to make sure everything's square. All right, man, go for it. Go for it. So he's getting to the point to where he's prepping the documents on his own. He'll have me double check it. He'll bring it back. And I told him, I said, call me. If you come across anything, call me. So he'll call me, ask me questions, ask me sometimes the same question that other notaries are asking. And he'll ask me something that I know I shared with him and say, hey, don't do this. And he'll call me up. So do I have them sign this? No, son, no, don't worry about it. I said, they don't sign that. Okay, thanks, Dad. And then he does his thing. And that's, if you want to start a signing company, you got to be that kind of leader. You got to be that kind of leader
Right.
where you're, willing. Hold on, let me as I got it right here. It says leader, someone who knows the way, someone who goes the way, someone who shows the way. That's what you got to be. And if you're not that kind of person, you can develop into that kind of person. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen, because what happens is when you get under stress, you default back to what you. So if you was like cut and run, If you're a cut and run person, when you strip, okay, let me put it this way, and I know you agree with this. All of this is about relationships, personal relationships, business relationships, relationship between you and another business owner, you and the business owner employees. There's all these different levels of relationship. And if you're the type of person that when things get heated, tight, uncomfortable in your relationships,
Yes.
you cut and run, what do you think you're going to do when it comes to business? Go for it.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. That in a nutshell is exactly what it is. Because, we want to talk about the nice and shiny object, the nice and shiny object. You can earn up to $200 doing a loan signing. That's all anybody wants to talk about. What's the next shiny way to earn money? But if you don't have a peer together, it doesn't matter, and it really has to do with just being able to just put yourself in a position where you know yourself, you know your why, you're able to control your behavior, and you're just able to adapt because this industry is always evolving, it's always changing. And if you're the type of person, like you said, that every change you run, you don't stand a chance being successful as a loan signing agent, nor do you stand a chance being successful as a notary public, nor owning any type of company. The same skills that you would need for being a W-2 employee would be the same skill. Oh no, to be a successful employee would be the same skills you would need to be successful in anything. This is just learning how to be a professional. If you want to
Right.
be, you have to be a professional first. Learn how to be a professional, and then learn the skill that you're learning to you're willing to learn, whether it be fingerprinting or signing service company or loan signing. Gain those skills, be professional, and you'll be okay. But you can't run away from you can't run away from you. You can't run away from being better. You can't run away from building relationships. If you're selfish, learn how to be unselfish. It could be taught,
Yeah.
because if you're not in the business of giving, you're not going to receive. You're going to lose really quickly as a leader.
Correct. Yeah. And I just put in the chat the link. So if anybody got a question they want to ask Gary directly, click on that link, hop on in, hit yes to all the questions it asks you for getting access to your mic, camera, and all of that kind of stuff. You can hop on from your phone or what have you. Here's a question. Someone told me I can't do fingerprints. I hate them. As though, and now what I understand about the fingerprinting, it all depends on the area. So like in my area of Virginia, especially the Hampton Roads area, it's a little difficult because everybody defaults going to either security companies. There's certain security companies that have already marketed themselves, as well as a lot of times they send people to the sheriff's office because I think the sheriff office is doing it for free for a lot of the companies. So it's not that you can't do it. You have to find the gap where it's not being fulfilled because in order to get it done with the sheriff's office, you got to drive to them. You see, and then even with the security people, you have to drive to them. They don't come to you. So now if you find a company that has a need where they need a notary or a fingerprinting expert to go to somebody, that's the gap. That is the little gap right there that you see that's not being fulfilled. So you like, okay, let me go ahead on and market myself that way. I do know, and what I understand, I know you have the regular ink fingerprinting system, and then I know one person was telling me that you got the little digital one with the little green, thing that you just stick and all of that. So you just have to find out in your area what are they looking for, and then you go down that road and get the necessary equipment. And that's all I've done with my business. When I was working my W-2, I had to go mobile. I had to have a printer in the car because without the printer in the car, I had to go from work all the way back home, print this, that, and the other. But once I put that printer in the car, man, I was on the road. I was like, during lunchtime, I was printing documents. As soon as if I took a break, I would go out there print documents. They're like, yeah, okay, we can take a break. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go. I'm sitting in the car printing documents. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of person that can be a signing company. Is that you're taking advantage of every piece of downtime you have to better yourself and to move your existing business in the right direction. If when you have if for your lunch, all you're doing is sitting up there scrolling, looking at Shula King, which that's my boy. I love him. I love Shula King. And you sitting there looking at Kwame Brown and Carcino, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you catching up with the Wu-Tang Clan on Hulu. It's nothing wrong. But when are you putting time into your business?
Right.
So I said, okay, I got this hour lunch. I'm gonna go out in the car and I'm gonna print documents. And a lot of times I would park so they wouldn't see me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna drive around the corner because it is amazing that as soon as no other time nobody wants to go out when I leave, and then I go out and hop in the car and they're like, "Oh, what you doing?" It's like,
right.
I'm like, really? Okay, let me go around the back of the building. Let me go over here in these bushes, print my 2 or 3 sets of documents. I have all of my documents printed, so as soon as I get off work, I'm gone. I'm ready. And in some cases, and for people who don't dress, well, who got a relaxed job where you don't have to dress, carry your set of clothes in your car. That's what I would do. Carry me a set of clothes in the car, get you some Smell Fresh or something, go to the Wawa and wash up at this sink, do whatever you gotta do. Freshen yourself up. You know what I'm saying? And then you go out there, change your clothes. Heck, if you got to, look, one of the things I learned, one of the best places to go is a hotel, because if you go to the hotel, you go to the first floor restroom, lock that door, get yourself duded up, and you gone. And you on your road, and you done change clothes, and they ain't gonna bother you. And you go in there, get yourself all duded up, and you go ahead on. That's the kind of mindset you have to have. You're like, okay, well, I need to change, and going all the way back home to change and freshen up. I got my shower gear. Boom. Okay, they got an open gym here. I go to the whatever you got, even if you got to pay a few dollars. Hey, let me do what you got to do. And see, that's how you start getting into a different mindset. But if you like, well, look, I got to ride all the way back home. I ain't doing that. Nah, nope. Well, if they pay me $200, I'll do it. They ain't paying $200, but they give you $125. You go knock it out, and next thing you know, they like, hey, you gonna look. I got so many people. They love me with reverse mortgages because so many notaries do not want to do them, and because I do them, and when anytime somebody calls me, I let them know I like doing them, and they're like, oh, you do? Yeah, okay. One guy said, well, the next time I'm doing business in your area, I'm gonna hit you up. That's what you want. I found a gap. A lot of notaries don't like doing reverse mortgages because they're worried about the amount of pages they're printing. They're worried about sitting there with a senior. Well, heck, I was with some people today that was in their mid-20s, and he took an hour and a half, and it was 205 pages. I mean, so 300 pages with a senior who takes an hour and a half, and I get paid more. I'm like, you just got to think and just be willing to put yourself out there to grow your business and to grow yourself, which will lead you into what Gary's talking about, being able to successfully, not just run, but successfully run a signing company. So what's some of the ways that people can benefit from your book?
Number one, just learning a system. Again, you don't there's no requirement, there's no prerequisites to starting this sort of business other than just really just getting started and just learning the system that you need to be successful. I started with a boutique style model in which I had a framework that I was successful with. Doesn't mean that you can't use that similar framework and remix it how you want to remix it to be successful in your own right. But I developed a system that worked for me that allowed me to do the business. So one thing that you'll learn from the book is a framework that I implemented to be successful with my signing service company. You'll learn how to literally how to start it up from the bottom up. And I give you all the tools that you need to get started doing that. And also, it's just a book that reads in a way where it doesn't have to be just starting up a loan signing service company. It could be any signature company where you're looking for subcontractors to do the business for you. So it tells you the framework that I use to be successful in doing that. So I really hope that everybody will be able to get a lot of knowledge and by me telling me what worked for me, and hopefully it could work for you as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I've learned so much about myself over these last 4.5 years that I've been doing this, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go do this. I got tired. I hear what everybody else is saying, but it's like, okay, what do I need to do for me? And I just made up my mind. I said, I'm gonna just go out here and do this thing. And people laugh, people snicker. Man, you can't make money being a notary. You can't do this. You can't do that. And some of these folk was with notaries. Some of these people was in the business, and they just because they had no belief in themselves to go out here and do this business because they didn't want to put in the time and effort. I mean, look, for 4 years, okay, I drove from Virginia Beach, Virginia to the Bethesda, Maryland area to work. Leave on Sunday, come back on Friday. For 4 years, I did that. If I can travel back and forth 218 miles one way, I can run this business. I can go out here and drive and do that and still and get to come home every night. I mean, you think about that. You got to leave your family for 4 years straight. That is tough. And I came home every single weekend except for two. One, I stayed in Florida to visit my dad because they had me traveling down there also. And then the other one, the family came up to me. So you're talking about out of over what 200 weekends in 4 years, only two I didn't come home, and only one of them I didn't see my family. The one that I did see, they came up, saw them, and they had and we all went to one of my son's gymnastics meets when he was competing. That was the only reason why I didn't come because it was easier for me to be in Maryland, and then they came up and got me, and then we went to Pennsylvania instead of me driving down and all of that. So I'm like, if I made that sacrifice, I can make the necessary sacrifice to do this business. And the sacrifice to do this business is nowhere near what I had to. I mean, I was sleeping in people's basements, okay, paying mortgage here and paying $750 to live in somebody's basement. One house I was in the basement with this lady's dog. She had the dog sort of cornered off in this one little room, but it was a Rottweiler, and she used, and in order to keep him in there, she would put her deep freezer in front of the door to keep him from pushing it open, and he pushed it open anyway. So I'm laying down here in the basement on an air mattress. I look up and I see Zeus, that's the dog name, looking at me at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
I'm like, what you want, Zeus? He wanted to crawl in the bed with me.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Zeus. So I'm sitting there. I mean, this is what I did for my family. So if I can do that kind of sacrifice, driving on a car where the transmission was shot and I could only go 45 miles an hour. And you driving from Maryland to Virginia, that's a long ride. And you can, in the max speed you can go is 45. That is not a fun trip at all. You see what I'm saying? So, and I know some people have not had to make those kind of sacrifices. And now in this business, they see that they got to make certain sacrifices. They're not willing to make those sacrifices. They're just not. They're like, I ain't trying to do all that. And that's cool. But don't get in the way of those who are willing to and want to. And that is why I have the biggest issue that I'm having right now with this notary business is that there's so many people, they spend an enormous amount of time telling everybody how much money not to make, what not to do. They're spending, well, don't do this and don't do that. Don't make this money. Don't make that money. And I'm like, you don't know what these people are going through. That $50, that $80 is money that can get. Look, let's just be real for a second. The worst thing for a man, and this is to the fellas, you a man, whether you're married to that young lady or not, and you're trying to take care of her, and her dad don't like you. Her dad don't like you. Mama don't like you. Her brother and them don't like you. And you have a chance to make some kind of money, and you sitting here listening to Frank on Facebook saying, don't do it unless it's 150. But you got 20 $85 orders, 15 $95 orders that you can do a month. And you're like, well, Frank said don't do it. Who the heck is it? And you got to constantly keep asking your father-in-law for money to take care of his daughter. That is a position that you do not want to be in as a man, where you are asking your wife's family to help you take care of her.
Right.
They're like, why don't we just get you out of the way and just bring her and the babies back home? And that's really what this is all about, is giving you a chance to have the lifestyle that you desire. Okay, not the lifestyle that people brag about, buying this car, buying this, that, and the other, buying all these fancy shoes and clothes. It's about having the lifestyle that you need so that your family is not on your case, so that you can take care of your family the way it's supposed to be done as a man. Okay, I'm not excluding ladies, but I got to talk men to men, because there's a lot of men out here. They're quiet on this in this business, but you need to know that you can do this. So we got somebody that wants to ask you a question, Miss Shantae. So let's bring her on in. You're on, Miss Shantae.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and I can see the beautiful scenery that as you're driving.
Yeah, I just ran around the corner to get some pizza. I'm on the break. I'm taking that NNA signing agent course.
Gotcha.
And so I stopped to take a break, and I ran into this live because I got the notification this time. But even with me taking that course, I found a couple of questions. I can't think of them right now off the top of my head. And this is for Griff, but I'm going to be on a mini vacation, but I'm going to shoot you a text with a couple questions that I had jotted down and to get some clarification. But I tell you one thing, it's more like a comment than a question. I like to tell you the man, Griff, because the other notaries, the different groups, they don't tell you to take that NSA training through NNA. They want to push you to somebody's training course that they know and blase sleep. But I find that I'm ready to go do a loan signing now. Hell, just put it on out there. Hell, because I mean, I ain't got time to pay somebody for to do marketing. I can handle the marketing. I want to know what them documents look like. I want to know exactly what I'm supposed to do, where I'm supposed to sign, how I'm supposed to present myself. Cut to the chase. I ain't got time for you to be trying to tell me how to set up a website and give me no speech and all that. I can do that on my own.
That's good.
So I really.
Well, Shantae, well, first of all, thanks for hopping on. For as the loan docs, and Pierre, know, I got an excellent video out there. I got two of them out there on the loan doc overview. And between the two of them, they probably got maybe 60,000 views on them. So, so when you text me, I'll make sure. I mean, if you just go on my channel in the Notary Basic playlist, you'll see those videos, and they tell you everything that you just asked about. Those videos go over that. They go over showing you what to do, how to sign, and the reason why I did those videos is really in support of people like Gary, because signing companies that are doing what they're doing, they don't always have time to train notaries. So I'm like, if I'm going to be out here, how about I show notaries what they need to do at the minimum? Because Gary is hiring you not because of how well you market yourself, not because you gave him a box of Krispy Kreme, but he wants to hire you because you can do the job correctly. What is it you're supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be notarizing documents so that when he gets them back and they go to the title company, they can be executed. Krispy Kreme ain't got nothing to do with that. So that's the whole goal here. So you look at the videos on my channel. I'm telling you, and yes, I'm pumping myself up with this. I'm guaranteeing you, you will be better off. You will be much better off, and you will know what you need to know so that you can be successful in this business. And then hopefully that day will come that you can move to the level that Gary's at, and I know he'll be right there to help you. Read his book, which would be the foundation, and that's one of the biggest things that notaries aren't doing. Y'all are some notaries are trying to skip the process. You hear about a person like Gary, you hear about me, and you look at a few videos that I've done. You glance at a few of the sample pages that's on Amazon, and instead of look at the videos and then read the book, well, I'm gonna just jump. Hey Gary, so no. Back it up. Everything that you want to know is in the book. Well, I just want to find out, maybe there's something in the book that everything that you need to know is in the book. You have to get the foundation. The same thing with the videos. Take time out, look at the videos, and I'm telling you, it will help you out. But the problem is that too many notaries, you're trying to accelerate, and you're not in a position, you mentally and physically and emotionally ready to go into going from 0 signings to 4 or 6 a day. That takes a lot. I mean, if Gary's sitting here, he's calling you, and you're like, okay, let's go, and you're like, I ran out of paper. Gary's gonna be like, okay, you're gonna be put on the last of the list, okay? Because I mean, just being real, because every time I call you, you don't ever have paper. Every time I call you, I'm waiting on the shipment of my toner, and all of that. That's the kind of stuff that you can't be. You can't be in those kind of positions. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I'm excited for you. So I'm gonna be here to help you. We're gonna do everything we can. All the information you need to know is on the channel. I just need you to just hop in there, look at those videos, and I'm sure that at least 80 to 85% of the questions that you have will be answered.
Yeah. Hit that mute, because I left my music on while I ran to get me a pizza. But yeah, no, I'm doing the NSA, not the one you take that lit small thing. I mean the actual course. That's what I'm saying. And when they went over the documents, because I printed out the whole loan package document that they offer you, and I was looking and marking and making notes on every document that they gave me, and I now feel comfortable. But it was something that they was going over, and I'm gonna look at your videos as well. But it was something that they were some scenarios they was playing out, and I had a question about it, or how would you have handled the situation? But I when I get to it, I'll shoot you a text on it. But
Okay.
I felt pretty good, because I was scared of the documents and all of that stuff at first, prior to getting into this class. And I'm taking my time with it. I don't have no choice. I'm off work. I had a job injury about a week ago today, and so I'm at home. So I've been taking my time with it.
That's good. Well, I'm here to help you out. So once you get your questions, just hit me up, and I'll be more than happy to work with you and all of that. And we had another person just hopped on, Thomas. We're gonna get you in just a second, Thomas. But one of the things that I always share with notaries: don't try to memorize these documents as if what you got from the NNA or what you got from somebody is definitive for every single loan out there, because every company, they all are different, and they flow different. The base that you need to do is make sure you understand how to notarize according to your state guidelines. Once you understand that, everything else flows. If you start trying to get into being, you know, like a loan officer and an escrow officer, where you're trying to understand the whole purpose and content and history of the document and all of that. That's going to run you crazy. Yes, there's different scenarios, but just focus on right now making sure you understand how to notarize. If you got that, because if you come into a situation like I had today, the guy wanted to read everything himself. There was nothing for me to say. There's nothing for me to say to a person who wants to read it themselves. So I just let them read. All I did was gave him the name, the title of the document. This is such and such document, and he read it. And then I just sat back and actually prep my documents because I didn't have a chance to prep them. So I'm like, I went ahead and started prepping everything while he's sitting there reading.
I think that was one of the questions right there.
Okay.
That's because I'm in the living room and I don't want to walk to the bedroom because just that little short drive flared up my dang on neck and my shoulder, my neck and my shoulder. But I think that was one of the questions. How would you handle a situation? Because I was listening in when you was saying about if you get caught on the fly and you need to change clothes and woo woo woo. So that if you get caught like that, you don't have time to prep no docs. So I think that was one of the questions. How would you handle a situation like that where you don't even have time to prep the docs?
Well, the thing is, if you don't got time to prep docs, you just go with it. As long as you know how to notarize, you know what you're doing for as being a notarization.
Right.
You good. That is it. That is it. You don't have to prep the doc. It's great if you get a chance to.
Yeah.
But if you don't freak out over that. And notaries are literally canceling orders because they don't get a chance to prep the documents. They've told me that. They called me and said, well, I ain't going to do it because I can't prep it. Okay, miss out on money then. But they're trying, but what they're prepping is they're saying, well, one lady told me, I need to practice what I'm going to say about the documents. I'm like, there's nothing to say about the documents. Here's the title of the document. Because depending on your state law, like in North Carolina, they can't do anything beyond saying the title. The moment they go into saying more about the document, and I think also in New York it's like that, it's considered the unauthorized practice of law. So you got to understand where you're at with your state laws. And if your state law says you can't do certain things, then guess what? You can't do certain things. So you worried about what somebody trained you to say and to give a spiel. Like one lady told me, said that the title company told the woman, we can't guide you and tell you what to do for us these tax documents. So if the title company is telling the signer, how am I going to sit here and tell the person myself? Okay, well, let me guide you through your tax documents. When they called the title company and the title company said, our hands are clean with that. We ain't touching that. So that's what I'm saying. So you gotta know what you're supposed to do according to your state law. I'm gonna switch over to Thomas. So what you got, Thomas? If he's still there, like he froze up on us. So anything you got, Gary?
No, this is good stuff. Good questions.
So, all right. So Thomas looked like he froze. So I'm gonna remove him so he can hop back in and everything. Let's see if we can get him to hop back in here, hopefully. But that's the main thing, you know. The main thing what I'm hearing Gary saying is being a signing service is great. You have an opportunity, especially if you know your why you're doing it, and you have an opportunity to really benefit and help other people out. But you got to be, but it all starts, the foundation is you being a good notary. You got to start there. And if you don't start there, then it's just going to snowball. And it's no different than what we tell our sons and daughters. If you how you study for your test is how you're going to do in that class. If you start the 9 weeks off, not studying, not doing your homework, not, guess what? You're going to fail.
Right.
It's that simple.
So but I like what you said earlier about enjoy the process.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so true. We just want to get to the finish line, but we don't want to do any other work to get to the finish line. You know?
That's right. Yeah, you got. Yeah, I enjoy the process because through the process I learn. Now, if you're the type of person, as one lady told me, and several guys have told me, I ain't got time to be trying to learn all that. Just give me the answer so I can go get it done because I need to make money. Okay, that's going to work for a certain amount of time, and you as an individual need to know that your time, that it's going to only carry you but so far. The problem is people have that mentality, but they're trying to get on your level. They're trying to get on my level. I mean, I mean, in some days I'm doing four to six a day, you know, and if you trying to get to 4 to 6 a day, 60 signings a month, you really got to have you got to have your act together. You got to be willing to learn and to understand and to comprehend. I mean, even the other day I had a situation where I wasn't sure that nobody told me that I needed a witness, so I didn't worry about it. But then come to find out later on, I needed the witness, and of course they tried to say, well, you didn't get a witness to sign. I'm like, no one said anything. I said, normally isn't that the title company's role to let me know? Oh, well, yeah, you're right. And see, and they was quick to try to subscribe blame to me.
Right.
But one of the things that you have to learn to do is not be so emotional and be logical. So logically speaking, okay, I didn't have a person witness. The reason why is because you sent me the documents, we talked about it, and you never said so. So I didn't go beyond what I figured that I'm supposed to do. Now you want a witness, not a problem. I'll go back and get that. But the title company typically is the one who provides instructions as to what needs to get done. And the title company should have known, or they do know because they're the ones who noticed that it wasn't a witness. So why not just say that up front instead of trying to put it on the notary in Virginia to know another state's law? And that's really what it was. They're like, well, I just figured you would know. Why should I know? This is your client that's in my state. It's your responsibility to make sure and everything, just like it's my responsibility to make sure that in my state I do things according to the laws that I know.
And that's just a thing. Like with odd things like this happen, where they're gonna subscribe blame to you, and it's not your fault. But you gotta problem solve and figure out ways in which you could communicate that to the title company, what you did and how you executed that in a professional manner, so you're representing yourself right. So I mean, we're really in the business of figuring things out and representing ourselves the best way we can, you know?
Right. And that's all I've done. I mean, so it's easy to get hyped. It's easy to take this personal, to take it as somebody's coming at you. And I say, you know what? They're dealing with other notaries who are being bad, who's cutting the fool, who's acting up. And then you come in just asking a basic, simple question. You got to realize they're under stress. And as I always say, you are the business owner dealing with somebody who's an employee. That person who's the scheduler is not the business owner. They're an employee, and they got a little small box that they got to operate out of. And the moment you bust that box open and get out, and just like I was talking with one notary, and I explained to her what was wrong. She was on a signing, and they took her off because she started asking questions. Well, when I thought, I said, okay, well, the reason why they took you off the signing is because you asked questions about what you're supposed to know as a notary. See, if you asking questions about what you're supposed to do as a notary, and they hired you to do your notarial thing, which is not their lane, and now you're calling the signing company saying, hey, how am I supposed to notarize this? What am I supposed to do in notarizing this? They're going to be like, okay, you must not know what you're doing.
Right.
Now, if you call them asking questions about the CD, the alter statement, or any other loan document or title document, especially that even if it is need to be notarized, if it's something on the deed, they got an AKA on there, and the woman's like, I don't sign with this name and that name and all of that, they're fine with that because that's something that's in their wheelhouse. But the moment you start calling the company asking them questions, and this is probably why some notaries might be not getting orders anymore, because if you think back on your own self that you keep asking questions about how do I go about notarizing this? What am I supposed to put here? And you're asking notarial questions to the signing company. They're going to be like, okay, let's get them through this so we can get paid. Everybody get paid, but we're not using him, her no more.
Right. And it's just like, people don't want you to, let me just say this straight up. They don't want you to complicate their lives, right? They're contracting you to make their lives easier. They like preferred notaries because they know they could trust and rely upon them. And if they do have a question, it's a smart question, which they have the capacity to answer, but they're not going to tell you, they don't want to tell you how to do your job.
Right.
Could they show you how to do your job? Sure. But they want to hire people that they know that will handle it well, and they're not having to walk them through what the prerequisites, so to speak, of their job is.
Right. Now, this question here says, how would you handle accepting an assignment from a signing company only to find out the docs are 256 pages after accepting it? I do it. I mean, because look, y'all, I did a great video. I'm going to say straight up, I did a great video on breaking down the cost, how much it actually costs. I mean, if look, you do the assignment. We did not get into this business to say, okay, I can only do assignments that are 50 pages or less. Now, you've been a signing company, and let's just say, Gary, you put yourself in a position of a title company. Okay, you work with title companies. My thought is this: if the notary is saying because the pages are over a certain number, you got to pay me more. To me, the reverse could be true, that you could say, well, since the pages are less than that certain number, I should be paying you less.
Right, but I wasn't as exact, to answer Carlos's question. I wasn't as exact scenario as the signing service company, where the title company did give me an assignment, and then with this particular title company, let me back up a little bit. With this title company, they usually pay out what was 160. 160 they typically pay out, but on this particular one, and it's usually 100 to 150 pages, no more than that. But on this particular assignment, they told us straight up it was like over 250 pages, right? And then so now, because they told us that up front, I had the ability to negotiate that. So as a signing service company, I was like, look, I said to this title company, usually usually you pay us out X amount, but because of the number of pages, are you okay with this amount? Right?
Right.
They said, yes, I've earned the opportunity to ask that question, right? Because I've always done a great job at them. I've showed my consistency. So in that particular instance, I was okay with saying, in this, can we do a higher price on that one, right? Because what I was doing there, it wasn't just for me. That notaries saw that I was fighting for them for a higher payout because of the higher number of pages. They saw that I was doing that, so it all depends. But if this were a newer relationship, then the way I may have treated them may have been differently. But I mean, it's case by case. But I'm okay with negotiating the price depending on the circumstance.
Right. Now, and a lot of times now, keep in mind, people, and I got to do a video on this. You need to read your terms of service, because the terms of service that is with these companies, they tell you that when you accept the assignment, you are accepting it for the fee that they're paying. Now, a lot of times people say, well, you, like it says here, well, you can always call to negotiate. Yes, you can. But in their mindset, for some of these companies, they're like, look, we already told you in our terms of service.
Right.
So when you accept the order, you say, I agree to the terms of service. Now you're saying, nah, pay me more. But see, my question still remains this. What is the bare minimum amount of pages that a notary is supposed to be expecting to print? Because now that is the shift. Everybody's now talking about, well, I can only print, and I've heard as low as 100 pages. If you go over 100 pages, you got to pay me more money. I'm like, when did the NNA, when did even a notary trainer out there ever say that you're supposed to only print as a notary, a loan document only supposed to be this number of pages? Somebody done lied to y'all. Somebody done said that the number of pages for a loan closing is supposed to be 125 or 150. And because it goes over that, oh, you have to get more money. You got to ask more. And I'm like, okay, where's the justification in that, because again, the moment you say, give me more money because I'm printing more, they can say, we're going to pay you less because you had to print less. I mean, to me, that makes sense because you're saying I'm spending more money on my paper and ink, so I need more money. So then they're like, well, if we only give you 35 pages, then I guess we shouldn't be paying you the 150 that we normally would pay, because that's what we value that at. And we value your time and effort at 150 for 35, but then we're giving you the same 150 for 110 pages, and you're saying, no, I need to be paid more because it's over 100. You're opening the door for them to flip on you and say, okay, fine, you know what? We just gonna cut it like this: $50 for anything under 100 pages. I mean, they can do that because this is their business.
Right, and you could also, and you lose that relationship, right?
Right.
But like with the instance I was telling you before, they volunteered to say, okay, here's how many pages this has, because she knew it was higher than usual. So there was an opportunity for me to go ahead and negotiate that. But to your point, I mean, look, you have to be reasonable. If you now see the packet and let's say they didn't advertise, it was such and such number of pages, and you find out it's 175 pages, and then now you're saying, well, hey, signing service company, hey, Gary, do you think we could go back and ask for more money? No, no, that's probably not the move to make, because again, is it a little bit higher than what they may usually, the usual number of the packets they have? Yes, but it's still within the wheelhouse of what a packet should have,
Right.
It's still in that wheelhouse. So the nickel and dime that particular title company for $30 more on that signing and potentially lose that relationship, it's not worth it for that signing agent, nor is it worth it for even a signing service company, because again, this all comes down to relationship. And just to your point, for every time that they're 30 over or 40 over, what if they're 40 less or 40 pages less or 50 pages less? Are they giving us a less of a cut? Not necessarily. So
Right.
you don't want to go ahead and with the mentality of nickel and diming every situation and negotiating every single packet that comes your way. You know what I mean?
Right. All right. So what you got for us, Carlos? You can unmute yourself. If you still there, Carlos, you can unmute yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Go for it.
Sorry about that. No, it's kind of pertaining to what you guys were talking about. I had an assignment. So it comes from a law firm that I work with a lot. I actually work with one of their attorneys a lot, because here in Massachusetts, attorneys don't need to be notaries, and some of them prefer not to be. So I accompany him, and normally for that it's a $65 fee just to go with him. I don't have to print anything, nothing. So his same law firm sent me an assignment to do a closing with an attorney on the phone for $90. Now I have to print, conduct the signing, travel. But when I got the packet, it was 256 documents. So it was like, do I want to nickel and dime these people? But if I'm getting 60, and again, it messes with your head because you want to build a relationship, but you're getting 65 just to sit there. Now I'm getting an additional 30 to print 256 documents, which if you nickel and dime it, as you were saying, it wouldn't even cover the print fee, because it's like almost like $40-something to print 256 pages on top of printing out a copy for the signers as well of the same amount, even though you can do the double-sided and kind of save that way. I mean, I still did the assignment, but how do you, because a lot of the signing companies that you get, some of them tell you an average of the paper, but the majority don't tell you what the packages are. Like, how would you handle that? I mean, obviously I proceeded doing the assignment, and I just want to see if there was a different way to handle that.
Well, the NNA tells us what to do. When you take your signing agent test, it tells you, get the assignment done and then go back and talk to them later. The goal of us, our main purpose is to get this deal done. We're going to make money, okay? But you can't make money if the deal doesn't get done. So if you're sitting here like, well, I ain't doing nothing, or you do the job and then you turn around and hold the documents hostage, so in trying to make them pay you extra, that becomes a problem. So just like hold on one second. So just like right here, it normally runs about 2 cents a page to print. With toner and ink, I did the numbers. You're talking about 256 pages. That's 500. That's $5.12. Keep in mind this: just as you can calculate this, so can they. And if they sit here and ran the numbers and like, wait a minute, you charging me an extra $50, but it only costs you $5.12. I have a fiduciary duty to make sure that my company is not overpaying for something that they shouldn't be. So I have a responsibility to ensure that things are being done right. And you're telling me I need to give you $50 more because it only cost you $5.12. Now you've already saved a ton of money. You get 56 cents a mile for your mileage when you travel. So I had you doing all these orders for 60, 65, and you didn't have to print anything. So you saved a ton of money right there. And the one time that I asked you to print, you're like, okay, well, you're going to have to give me a whole bunch more money because, man, wait a minute. How much money did you save with me having you not to print? And you mean to tell me you can't do this? So that's how I look at it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go on and do it. Because it's only, $5.12. And then, look, I put in over 1,000 miles a month, probably close to 2,000 miles. You times that by 56 cents, that's a huge tax deduction right there that I'm getting on my mileage. Give me the 256 and let me go in and knock this sucker out. Because again, it's about building the relationship because you don't know what the future holds with that company. You don't know. And they want to see, sometimes they might want to see how you handle yourself, how you going to respond. And you go and you knock that bad boy, and you're like, okay, we know we can trust him. Because it's about building relationships and trust.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I keep seeing people keep sending me stuff on posts from Facebook, folks saying I'm double downing. You're going to pay me $100 for signing, but the company's always offering 85. And you keep countering and you're not getting anything, how do you plan on making a company pay you more when you won't even do any of what they're offering you? And that's the part that doesn't make sense with the notary business is that y'all are smart, grown, adult people. And the attitude and the vibe that you're taking toward this business, you don't do toward your W-2. You have never done toward any other business. If you got children, you wouldn't tell your kids to act this kind of way, but you get in this business and you allow these charlatans, as I call them, to pump your head up with a bunch of visions of grandeur, and they don't show you any receipts to date. No one has ever said. Everybody who keep talking about, well, I ain't doing nothing unless it's $150. I have yet to hear somebody come back and say, since I took that stand, I'm making the money that I need to make. You don't hear anybody bragging about that. Because they're not making the money. They're not getting $150 every single signing like that. Maybe if they're in California, but what are you doing to get that 150? What are you doing to get that 300? Because there's stories out there that the title companies are having people do all kinds of stuff, signing settlement checks and acting sign as a title officer and all of that when you're not. So if you got to do all of this extra stuff just to get the 300, I'm like, that ain't legit. You see what I'm saying? That ain't legit. So then you become a signing company owner. You'll end up having your notaries doing stuff that you did. Well, heck, I did it. So why you can't do it? Why ain't supposed to? Well, you know what? Blacklist. And now you just messed up somebody's career. You messed somebody's career up because you didn't have the integrity to stand firm and you allow somebody to punk you out into doing something that you shouldn't have did. And because that person wouldn't let you punk them out, I'm a blacklist you.
Yeah, I am.
So the bottom line is this: get the order done. I'm the type, I like doing it just to see How difficult is it? Because everybody keeps saying how hard it is to do 256 pages. Okay, well, let me try. I come to find out it ain't that hard because I still have my standard 13 notarizations to do, and they really the ones who signing. It's all their most of the person, the couple signature, and I got 13, maybe 15 notarizations. I'm like, okay, I don't see where that's a problem. Go
Okay,
for
so
it, man.
I think I handled it the right way based on. I just wanted to see if there was any other way because, like I said, I still took the assignment, and I didn't want to negotiate because they would say okay this one time, and then after that, all right, we're not dealing with him anymore. So I still took it. I did, for the price that it was, and did it. And like you said, 256 pages wasn't really crazy because it was a trust. So there was a lot of pages that had nothing to do with me notarizing or a lot of instructions or whatever. So a lot of the pages were just passing them by. But as you said, that's what I did. I took the assignment. I didn't negotiate for more, just because I figured it's like, let's if I negotiate and they give me the money, that'd be the last time. Okay, we'll give you the money now, but then later they won't reach out for any more.
What you got,
So
Gary?
No, 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 no. I agree. I agree with you on this one. It's just I like to just, I would say, just do the job. To finish the assignment. Negotiate after if you feel like that would be the right move to make. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, because again, you don't want to keep the docs hostage. You don't want to hold anybody up. It's a closing at the end of the day, and we want to do what makes sense for the customer first and foremost. If it's a newer relationship that you're trying to establish, sometimes you just have to bite the bullet. Sometimes you just this may not be the way it is all the time. You want to get yourself in the door. You want to earn an opportunity to get that relationship. Um, just do the job. And no, I'm saying that lightly, Carlos. Just do the job because that might be an opportunity where they go to you for another assignment and another assignment, and it may be a very viable relationship for you. And again, 250 pages may seem very intimidating, but again, a lot of the work is not on you, so it may not take that much more time out of your schedule to actually do it. The print cost, yeah, but you got to weigh the print cost versus what you would actually get on that assignment, depending on what they're paying you out. So I'd look at the whole picture and then make a decision based off that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. It's about just getting the job done. I mean, at the end of the day, getting the job done. I have great relationships with people, and then here's the other side. Now they put comments on you. They say how well they like working with you. If I do assignment for somebody, and there's companies that I've done one assignment for and never heard back from them again because they just happen to have somebody in our area. I do those assignments because I want to do them right, and I want them to turn around and say something positive about me, which may make a company who's on the fence say, "Yeah, I want to pick Griff." Because here's the thing: let's just say we got GPL. If GPL is a respected signing service amongst the signing service owners, and if Gary says something about a notary, says something positive about Carlos, other signing companies say, "You know what? Well, if Gary said he's a good guy, let's give him a shot. Let's give him a shot." Because Carlos could have made a bad mistake when he first started, and somebody gave us a really crappy review of him and made him look like Satan's child or whatever the case may be. And then Gary said, "You know what? Look, I need this done. Carlos is about 10 minutes away. I see what they're saying, but you know what? That was 4 or 5 months ago. I'm gonna give him a shot and see what he does." And Carlos comes through, bam, guy said he learned from his mistake and he's doing good. And then Gary sits there and says something positive. Now, to me, all of those people who might have been on the fence now see Gary like, okay, well, if Gary gave him a shot and he's doing okay, well, maybe we'll give him a shot, because there are some companies out there that if that company blacklists you, other companies will blacklist you even though they never used you. So I think the reverse is true. If you're getting praise and admiration from a good quality signing company, that they may be able to say something positive about you, that other companies say, you know what, I'm gonna give them a shot. So when an order comes in, and if it's a company that I know I've never done before, I hop on that bad boy. I will hop on it. I mean, I'm sitting, yes, yes, yes. And I'm getting it, and especially if I know I have the time to do it, I don't have a slot, I'm not booked at that time, I go ahead on and say, yes. I see a new signing company, I ain't never seen them. Okay, yes, I'm available. Even if it is for $60, even if it's trailing docs for $25, I go ahead on and do it because I'm trying to build a relationship with that company, because I don't know what on the other side that they have. You see what I'm saying? I don't know on the other side of this $25 5-page trailing docs that they might have commercial real estate deals that they might want to pull me in on, or other private wealth things that they want to pull me in on. So that's where I'm looking at. So this person says, how would you handle being assigned a seller package, estimate 25-page, the note sign includes $15, and you get the docs and it's actually 15 transactions. Again, just do it. Just do the assignment to get it done, to see how bad it is, to see if it creates an issue for you, and then go back and negotiate. Sometimes it's hard to negotiate something when you ain't even gone through it. You ain't even done it, and you like, all right, well, I need to negotiate. But sometimes just try it. Just give it a shot. Just give it a shot. All right, we're gonna bring Ashley in. This is gonna be the last one, and then we're gonna bounce on off of here. So what you got for us, Ashley?
Okay, so I haven't accepted any signings because the times aren't good. But my question is, can you accept a signing and the time isn't good for you and change it and still be able to do the signing?
Technically no, because the signing time is created between the title company and the people who are signing. So what you can do is, and I've shared this a lot, is if an order comes in for 4 p.m., let's just say 3 p.m., and you know you're not even off work at 3 p.m., you can say, well, if it was at 5, you can say to yourself, well, if it was at 5 p.m., I could do it. So what I normally would do is just say, hey, not available at this time, available at 5 p.m.
Okay.
And I would just let them know I'm available at a different time. And what has happened in the past is that because I said a different time, and sometimes the title company is setting the time and they never even talk to the signers. So they signed it, they put the time out there, and let's just say I grab it and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do it at 3. I call them to confirm. They're like, look, we still at work. We ain't even off. We ain't gonna be home till 5. Well, look, I can't do it because I'm booked at 5 o'clock. Now, because you responded back saying that you are available at 5, they can say, well, look, Ashley said she's available at 5. None of the other notaries said that they were available at 5. She's the only one. So okay, everybody else just said ain't available, not available, and never said that they could do it at a different time. And you did. Okay, well, we see that you said you're available at 5. Hey, Ashley, can you do this at 5? Yeah, I can do it. Okay, it's yours. Okay. And that's how I got started. That's how I even to this day, I still get orders like that.
Okay.
I will get orders. People call me. Sometimes I've seen stuff assigned to me, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And it's like, well, you said that you was available at 6. Yeah, I did, and they just went on to throw it in my queue because I said so, because I said at that time, and they're like, okay, well, you said you're available at 6. We went on and signed it to you. Docs be ready in about an hour. Okay, got it. Unless something came up and then I already got booked. But you can always suggest a different time. You could always plan to say, okay, well, can I get off early? Take the assignment for 3 o'clock, get off at 1, go get everything together, go knock it out. Can I come back to work? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, it's at 12 o'clock. It's not that far from me. Matter of fact, they said it's at 12 o'clock. They contacted me 2 days ago. It's at 12 o'clock. They contacted me on Tuesday. It's 12 o'clock on Thursday. And it's like 20 minutes from my job or less. And I already got the documents. I'm gonna take a long lunch that day.
Okay.
I'm gonna take a long lunch. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm gonna take a long lunch, and you go knock it out, and then come back. Now, granted, there's a problem sometimes. Like happened to me, I did that one time, and old boy wanted to read every single page of every single document, and it took longer than an hour. And I was like, dang, hope nobody say nothing. But that's a chance you have to take,
Okay.
you know. And if you have that flexibility, it's nothing wrong with doing it, you know. So that's the kind of stuff that I did. I was like, all right, let me just go in and give this a shot. And it's like, okay, went in there, and especially if it's a seller, my attitude was, and especially when I was working from home, if it was in my zip code, I'm taking a long lunch or a late lunch. Oh, it's at 1. Yeah, I'm going to lunch today at 12:30.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, lady. All right, Gary, I think that is it. I lost your picture there. Didn't realize that. If you there, Gary, I can't hear you.
You hear me?
Yep, there we go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I think I lost it. I think we lost the picture, but I'm here.
Okay, good. All right, my man. Well, look, everybody, the link to get his book is in the description. Get the Kindle version, get the hard copy, all of that. Get the Kindle version for yourself, buy the hard copy for a friend, and say, hey, look, this is the one and only time I'm going to be nice to you. Here's a great book. You need to get this. No, I'm just joking. But do something nice for somebody. If you know somebody out there that you really believe that can have the potential of starting their own signing company, hook them up with the book. But more importantly, be a great notary yourself so that you aren't a burden to them. Okay? Do business with them. They're your friends. They're somebody you know. Conduct business and do it right so that their business can grow and that you can grow with them. Okay? Because never know, they might retire one day and want to pass the business on to you. So learn to do it right, be right, and everything else will be excellent. So, party people, thank y'all for this time. I had a great time talking with you, Gary. Glad we was able to chop it up, and I think everybody is going to do fine in this business. I just need y'all to just stay focused, get the naysayers out of your head, and just stick with good, solid information, and you will be just fine. Anything else, Gary?
No, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Griff, for allowing me the platform to speak with you and share my knowledge. It was an honor and privilege talking with you today. It was a bunch of fun. Thank you again.
All right. We're party people. Remember, be that leader, and everything else will fall in line. Y'all have a good one. Peace.